Good day everyone and welcome to this MagSorc commentary for update 40. It's been some time since I've done one of these, and since it's always useful if you want to get better at MagSorc to know the thoughts behind somebody playing MagSorc, I want to go ahead and do this commentary so you can see what's going on. I have clips here to show different cases of MagSorc PvP. So starting off here, I'm in between Bleakers and Alaswell, I think it is. So in between the blues and the reds. I am AD, so everybody that I fight here is an enemy, and it's an area I like to be in when I look for fights, when I look for people to do 1vx. In this case there was a big red Zork running there, so I go close to them to see if I can poke them. I don't even really need to poke them because they immediately start chasing me, at least a bunch of them in the tail do. So I go and kite it out. I'm not gonna hold my ground there because I know there's gonna be people coming in all the time and I'll not be able to tank everything. So I go to a trusty rock. It's always a good idea to kite to a rock on MagSorc, and you can see it's immediately useful as well because I can run down this rock after getting pressure so much and then undoing right up just before I die, and that jukes all of them. I think there's only one DK that is still on the rock here that can attack me, but it has reduced the incoming damage that I take so much because everybody's now down the rock with this quick move right there. I see if I can quickly just 1v1 somebody for a few seconds, see if I can burst them down. It doesn't happen. Everybody runs up on the rock again, so I kite off the rock and I go for the next situation. I could choose to hold my ground there, but I'm playing MagSorc very carefully these days because there is so much damage going around in terms of like proc sets and Dragonites and Nightblades one-shotting you. So I just kite it out and I'm careful because I know with the position that I'm in between Bleakers and Alaswell, there's always enemies going around. I don't need to dedicate to a single fight or else I will not fight any enemies. Now in this case here, I'm in between these two trees which give pretty good ROS, and there's 3 enemies, so I can hold my ground. And now it's a matter of finding the squishy player. As always, I keep my buffs and my shield up, and I see this Dragonite in here in front who is not having a buff that takes a lot of damage, so I'll start by focusing him down. He heals up immediately though, so even though he may be a bit squishy, he also has a lot of healing. So I reset everything again, new crit surge, new shields, and then overload. So now I'm gonna press somebody with overload. This guy in front here, this DK, takes a lot of damage unexpectedly, so I've quickly finished him off with the burst combo, having that curse explode and then roll cancel the fragment. I immediately killed that Nightblade as well afterwards. I had some overload and he was casting a bow ultimate, which means that he is exposed to all damage and cannot roll dodge it. And that's how I get 2 kills really quickly. Now this last DK here is a lot tankier but also has no damage. And then I see a Templar join us in, who has a lot of damage with those spears, so I immediately see if I can focus that guy. Unfortunately, I have run out of buffs, and Fresh Vitality, which I'm wearing as well, has also gone off cooldown. So first I'm playing it a bit very carefully, going behind the tree and all that. I pop overload to see if I can quickly push that Templar, if I can quickly kill that Templar, and also to get some resources back. Unfortunately though, there's more people coming in now. There's 3 people now actually, so it was 1 guy. But I continue focusing the Templar because the Templar is not healing, so that's the target I want to focus on. However, I only get a few seconds to do so, and the Templar is pretty tanky, so probably something like Undeath passive, maybe some sets that are tanky as well. I still want to focus the Templar. You can see I'm constantly looking at her. However, now there's 4 enemies, so I'm gonna play it safe. I'm not going to be greedy and I'm just going to kite again because I know that I make the decisions in 1vx. I can choose where to fight, it's not these guys that choose that. So I go back to my trusty spot with the 2 trees and I see basically the same thing. I use LOS, I streak through everybody to give myself time and to make them turn the camera and to be CC'd. And in the meantime I keep my buffs up and I see who is squishy, I see who to focus. I see somebody there that has some kind of healer build with that Undaunted shield passive, shield skill, which is pretty bad. I also see that Templar that is still in there. I'm gonna keep on kiting to the back of this other tree, so I can maybe separate one member that runs faster from the others, and I can focus that one down like I did earlier. They all 4 come at the same time though. I'm pretty good in terms of sustain and defense, so I'm gonna pop overload and see if I can burst somebody anyway. I quickly get punished for it though, because I do take quite a bit of damage. I went to almost half health, and everybody has quite a bit of healing. There's that healer that popped barrier and all that. So I'm going to unslot overload again, or deactivate it at least, so I can save my ultimate. If I were to spend all my ultimate here, it would be kind of useless because I don't need to sustain, and in terms of damage I'm not gonna kill anything right now, I need to wait. I focus that same Templar again and now it goes a lot better. You can see this person is pretty tanky, but does not heal themselves. So as soon as I get a bunch of seconds to focus them, it goes a lot easier. And I was able to do that by going on this rock, so everybody kind of separated, and then I had time to start the burst combo on this Templar from this rock and then continue. Next up I focused this healer, who is a bit the opposite of the Templar earlier, does heal himself a lot, but is very squishy, so I was able to get through that pretty quickly. Now we're back to this Dragon Knight, same one as before that I ended the fight with, so a pretty tanky play, but does not have much damage. Even though it's not much damage that I'm taking right now, it's still important to occasionally cast a shield or a vigor to keep your crit surge and all that up, except of course when you're almost killing the Dragon Knight, which happens here. I pop Overload to quickly finish him as well before he can run away. Unfortunately, he did manage to run away, and he goes on this main road, where he then continues to attack me. He probably guessed that more EP might have come to help him, and that's exactly what happened. So this Templar is now back in the fight. It's well, I don't know if it's a Templar, it's this healer. It's a Dragon Knight actually, I think. That's kind of weird. But in any case, the squishy healer from before, who might be healing himself a lot, but also takes a lot of damage. In the meantime, the other Dragon Knight is not dealing that much damage to me, so I'm pretty fine defending myself with just the occasional shield and vigor while keeping crit surge and all that up. I continue to just pepper up that guy with crushing shocks, fragments and curse as I see fit, with variant burst combos that are probably something I should go over in another video. Then there is that last Dragon Knight. Again, I immediately pop Overload because now I have a whole bunch of it. I didn't need it to kill that other guy, the healer, so I can just go ahead and pressure this guy. I tried to animation cancel quickly here several times with Overload. It didn't work very well because there was a bunch of delays in that clip. You might have noticed some streaks that weren't working either, and some roll dodge cancels that weren't working either. But I do want to stress that these are really important things for a Magical Sorcerer, that your streak is instant and that your roll dodge cancels and bar swap cancels are on point, because often it is the case that you will miss out on either a kill or you will die if a singular roll cancel or bar swap cancel doesn't work. And this clip continues in a next fight as well, that just goes straight after that. And that really illustrates really nicely how important this is, all this animation cancelling for Magical Sorcerer. Now it starts off with this other sorcerer that I'm fighting right here. This is just a small duel, let's say, in between the two fights that I want to show. But this in particular also shows how squishy and how weak Magical Sorcerers that are not too strong are in PvP. Often they are the first target to focus because the skill floor of Magical Sorcerer is so high right now, and they often die in 2 shots or even less, depending on what class you play. And even I, who am better at MagSorc, can still die in 2 shots quite easily. So it's always a good idea to focus the MagSorc first. Anyway, this is now the new fight. You can see there's a Nightblade, went immediately into stealth. There was also a Nightblade to my left that went into stealth and then tried to do some sort of attack with a snipe and then ambush into me. And then another Nightblade popped up, and now there's 3 of them. This is a bit of a different fight than the previous one because now I have to be a lot more elusive. In the previous one it was a bit more like tank it out, but with a bunch of kind of squishy high damage Nightblade you can't really do that, so you need to constantly make use of LOS and roll dodge cancels. So that fight there, I got one just then. Here I got CC'd and I do a break free into roll dodge cancel, and then another one with a shield or vigor. It is very important to do that so you can heal up and avoid damage at the same time, as well as deal damage and avoid damage at the same time. So you'll see a lot of the kills in this particular fight are a lot of roll dodge cancels with a fragment or a crushing shock. There it happened again, with a crushing shock afterwards to finish that Nightblade. Now it's just these 2 guys left here, so I do a curse, a crushing shock, a streak, and then another crushing shock, and this guy's low, and then I do the roll dodge with a last crushing shock to finish him off as a way of a quick burst, because with that animation cancel it goes out a bit faster, plus I avoid all damage myself. I do the same for this Dragon Knight, roll dodge with a crushing shock, and that roll dodge actually also dodged damage from this Nightblade. So I think this last part here is a really nice example of how these roll dodges, these cancels can allow you to kill something while also avoiding damage yourself, and how important it is to learn that. And then I finished that last Nightblade because he was alone. I could keep him out of stealth with streak and curse, and then I was able to connect the last fragment behind that tree and kill him that way. I think the main important things to take away from this fight is just the importance of kiting and not being greedy, so resetting your position until you're really comfortable. You decide when you can do the fights, not them, especially because as a Magical Sorcerer right now you're not that strong, I think Magical Sorcerer is out of its weakest point when it comes to class balance, but it's still not as strong as many of the other classes. It's not as strong as the Nightblades, as the DKs, and you can see there was a lot of those in these two fights here. So it's important to be on your guard for sudden incoming damage and being in a really comfortable position before you start taking any risks. And then another important point to take away is those roll dodge and bar swap cancels that are so important defensively and offensively. In any case, that's a bit what I wanted to talk about. Let me know if you want more commentaries like this. I hope it's been useful. Maybe I should do something a little bit out of gameplay but more theoretical on burst combos and such, because I haven't made a video about that as well. If you want something like that, be sure to let me know and I will get to it. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope it's been useful, and I'll see you next time. Bye!